Hello, Lutz.
Hi there.
Welcome to the podcast episode. And it's great to have someone from academia.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, me too. And many times I am in contact with universities, and this time in this podcast, I see that your career journey has been always in the academia environment. Can you explain if you decide this career journey in the academia, you never question yourself to go to the industry? What is this paradox between industry and academia?
Yeah, obviously there's not only one path, and everyone has to decide what they like and what they're good in. For me, I'm like really, I would say, a stupid academic. I never saw the real world, so to say. I studied food science in Germany, University of Hohenheim. I did my undergraduate there, my master's, and also my PhD. And then, well, after my master's, I knew that I wanted to do a PhD because I really liked working in the lab. I liked working in science. I liked the group that I did my master thesis in. So it was kind of, and I liked also the project that my PhD project. So it was pretty clear to me that I wanted to stay for a PhD. And then after the PhD, there is obviously the question, what do you want to do? And I was kind of in between. Do I want to stay in academia or do I want to go into industry? I really liked academia. I like to develop my own ideas. I like to really work on ideas. I think I prefer working on ideas than working on products. So that's why I initially thought, yes, I really like the career trajectory in academia for me. But there are also many, many hurdles. So you have to, especially in Germany, there are not too many food science professor positions. So for me, I set myself kind of a limit, an age limit. I said, okay, so I will stay in academia until 35. If I'm not getting into a tenure track professor position, or maybe already, I don't know, a tenure professor position until 35, then I will switch to industry. Because at a certain point in time, you also need to be a little bit realistic about your career choices and also economic choices. Because as long as you're not a professor in academia, usually the salary is like not very high. And then, so you have to be a little bit realistic about this. And then, so I set myself like this age limit. Okay, if I don't get into a professor position until 35, I will switch to industry. But then
And
luckily,
you didn't
yeah,
because you
no.
were a successful food science professor. So tell me, Lutz, between research, you say new ideas in a research project, or classroom teaching, which activity do you prefer the most?
That's a tough question. Um, I think based on my personality, I like research a little bit more. Like
Okay.
I'm more the person, I can sit for myself, working on a manuscript for 2 hours and I'm totally happy.
Okay.
Uh, Standing in front of a classroom was quite frightening, especially when I did it the first time.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting used to it more and more. Um, but I think just based on my personality, I'm I'm more leaning towards that I like research more, but in academia, I think from a philosophical standpoint, to me, it's really important also to teach and to convey the knowledge and enable our students
Yeah.
to gain this knowledge and to make really progress in their career.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really important part of my job. And now I'm starting to like teaching more and
Yeah,
more.
more is connected anyway. And
Yes.
as on the industry, there are many different universities, private, public. In the case of University of Massachusetts, I see be revolutionary. So what is this motto that is associated? What does it mean?
I think we really try to think out of the box, try to come up with new ideas, and at the same time enable the students to come up with new ideas.
Challenge the status quo.
Yes, yes. But I think, I mean, it's a logo of our university, but I think like most universities try to do this. We just put it on as our logo, but I think it's a motivation each day to think, okay, what could be the next big thing? And then for us, it's in food science.
Yeah.
So always ask, okay, what could we do next? What could be a next cool project? And then also work together with the students and enable them to develop their own ideas and develop new ideas.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's don't stay in your comfort zone, try to challenge, be disruptive. Very nice. So, Lutz, we are in a Bridge2Food podcast right now, and you were connected to Bridge2Food for some time already. Can you explain how was the first time that you get connected with Bridge2Food?
Yeah, I joined for the first time the North American Summit in 2022 in Las Vegas,
Okay.
which was a really fun event. And I gave a talk, and then I got to know like all the Bridge2Food people, and we saw there's like a mutual overlap in interests. And then they needed someone to chair the Asian Summit in Singapore just a few weeks later. And then they asked me whether I want to chair the summit, and I said, yeah, of course. And then we just got connected more and more, and we saw, yeah, there's mutual overlap in interest, and that's how I got more and more involved in Bridge2Food over time, and it's a
And
lot of
did you
fun.
go to Singapore?
Yes, yes, two
Okay,
times.
nice. Two times.
So, yeah, it was
Brilliant.
a lot of fun.
I think that everybody appreciate everything that you are doing in this ecosystem that is so engaged with people connection. You recently chaired the HealthFerm. Can you share a little bit why you were involved with HealthFerm and what was the intention of that session that you chaired?
I mean, HealthFerm is this European Union big collaborative research project. And oftentimes what we are lacking in academia is communicating, first of all, to the outer world what we are doing. Like we're writing our papers, but it's quite specific and not everyone understands it or has access to it. And it's also in the language, it might not be accessible to everyone. So that's like one problem. And then oftentimes another problem is to communicate with outside stakeholders. So with stakeholders that are not directly involved in a project, like companies, other universities, nonprofits, the general public. And with those meetings, we really want to build a community with everyone who is interested in food fermentation with novel fermentation approaches. And so this can be people from academia, industry, nonprofits, general public, whoever is interested. And we will have like lots of different presentations from academia, from industry, not only related to the HealthFerm project, but about fermentation in general. Yeah, we had the first meeting, which was, I think, really good. We have a lot of participants, many more than we initially anticipated.
It was the most attended session that we never had in Bridge2Food.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah, I mean the same for you. I think like both the morning and the afternoon meetings were like really successful. So I'm really looking forward to have like 3 more meetings this year. So this will be really good. I think like fermentation is really, it's like this. It's a weird technology. It's like really on the one hand, it's a really old kind of process, but on the other hand, with modern technology, we can make so much out of it, and still so much to learn. So it's a
I
true.
agree. Yeah. And this is in the space of the ecosystem that is this plant-based and sustainable diet for the human being and also good for the planet. In that space, because you are in food science, so your teaching is broader, but if we focus now narrow on the Bridge2Food ecosystem, what do you think, Lutz, that is our low-hanging fruit something that with little effort we can get a high return on investment.
You mean in terms of new technologies or products?
Whatever can be in the space of science, technology, consumer communication, everything that is related to have this category successful.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm not sure whether there's like a really low-hanging fruit. Like I'm in science, so and it's really, really difficult.
From the science perspective, what
Yeah.
will be?
That's a. I mean, for me, what the lowest hanging fruit would be is that we need more research funding in this space. Like that's like, okay, this is something, if we have more funding, then we can do more science, and with more science we get better products. So I think that's for me like what is missing in
Okay.
parts, like really more funding for the research that we are doing.
And if we look at on the other side, the biggest challenge that we need to face, that it will take a big effort and will take time as well to convert, which one would be?
I think there are some technological challenges that still need to be addressed, but I think the biggest challenge at the moment is really the consumer acceptance
I agree.
and consumer education as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a really long-term effort that we have to do. It needs a long-term vision. I think
Yeah.
initially everyone was really enthusiastic and we were thought, oh, we are already at tipping point, and we were thinking many more people would just include those new sustainable foods into their diet. But as we see now, it needs more long-term vision, and we need definitely on the product side, we need more product variety, we need better products, but we also need to have better consumer communication, education, and then just really new cool products that consumer embrace.
Yeah, and we need to integrate social science, psychology to understand the language that we need to use to inform consumer. I agree. So you know that we have a board of directors in Bridge2Food that I am proudly chair. And with this group of 12 professionals, we prepare the technical agenda that we are conducting during 2025. And we divided in 3 pillars. I would like to go pillar by pillar. We have 3 pillars, and we have 4 lines in each of them. So I will share with you the 4 lines in each of the pillar, and I would like you to select only one, the one that resonates the most on you.
Okay, let's
Okay?
do.
Good. The first pillar is related to science. In the science pillar, we have processing, processing that is for ingredient or finished food, then biotransformation that includes fermentation and enzymatic treatment, and can be also cultivated meat, cultivated fat, then nutritional science for human, and then the 4 is artificial intelligence. These are the 4 themes that we put in the science pillar. Which one resonates the most on you?
For me, definitely the biotransformation, because we can use it to make less processed foods. We can use it to remove off flavors, increase the nutritional properties. We can use it to make completely new foods. There's so many cool fermented foods that are traditionally consumed in many areas in the world that we maybe could learn from and use this technology to make kind of new, cool, engaging, and amazing foods.
Yeah, I
I think the
agree.
presentation is quite yeah. I hope more people will work on it.
Yeah, and you know, Lutz, in our ecosystem, we run sometimes some poll questions through Teams, and the majority always select biotransformation because it's much more clear and natural for consumers because, as you said earlier, fermentation exists for thousands of years already in beers, in wines, in cheese, in bread, and consumer recognize as something that is part of nature. So it's unlocking the wisdom from nature to discover new bacteria, new yeast, what you are doing in HealthFerm. So well aligned.
Exactly.
So in the second pillar is value chain. So we have 4 teams as well. New product development. And new product development is named new application in the ingredient side B2B and new food and beverage in the B2C. Then new ingredient. A new ingredient can be new protein from crops or mycoproteins or yeast, or can be new fats, can be also cultivated fat, or can be some of the yeast fat that is today as well available. And then sustainability with the real measurement of the sustainable, more sustainable, prove it. And the 4 is agricultural science.
I think the first one is probably for me that resonates the most.
New product development.
Yeah, I think there has been quite a tremendous development over the past few years in bringing new ingredients to the market. There's still some work to be done, but I think what we really need is new and exciting products.
Okay.
And more product variety. And what I really like, what I usually say is, so Germany is like the country of sausages. So we have approximately 1,200 different types of sausages.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine like those 1,200 types of sausages, they are basically produced from only 3 different main ingredients, which is like beef, poultry, and pork. And from those 3 main raw materials, so to say, we make like 1,200 different types of products. And I think we can be more creative with the ingredients that we already have to make new types of products that resonate with the consumer. Not to say there's still some work to be done on making the ingredients better, but I think new products would help a lot.
Okay, let me zoom a little bit in that point, new product development. Do you consider there that this new product development that can be new type of shape and taste and flavor and color and appearance, or they have to be meat mimic or dairy mimic?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think short term, it's a good idea to have those products that mimic the dairy, your milk, your yogurt, your meat. And I think there's definitely a place for those products in the supermarket, because sometimes it's just really convenient, those products. We know how to prepare them, they cook similar to meat, and we can use them the similar way. But then now comes but I think we have to think a little bit off the box and make new types of products that are rich, especially rich in protein and sustainable. And I don't know what those could be, but I'm pretty sure there are really a lot of creative people out there that could come up with new ideas to make those new products that then resonate with the consumer. And they don't necessarily have to replicate meat or milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at some time we introduced meat and milk into our diet, so there's always room for introducing new types of foods into our diet that are completely different. And there's no law that says, oh, we have to only eat this type of product. We're omnivores, so we can eat a lot of different foods.
And do you consider as well that the combination of animal raw material and vegetable raw material can coexist, that you can have dairy and also crops, or meat and also soy or other botanical protein?
I mean, if we look into the data and the science, the science says we don't have to ditch meat and dairy completely. We just have to reduce it by a lot. So I don't like extreme solutions, because extreme solutions never work for the general public.
Yeah.
So we have to be realistic.
Yeah.
And realistic to me means yes, there's still room for animal-based products, but far less than we consume today. I think that should be like the overall conclusion. And then we have to work together with the consumer, with the supermarkets, to show them, okay, what does this actually mean? How much would be considered to be healthy and sustainable of consumption of animal-based products? So
I
I think
like
there's
that.
room, but much less room than we give those products today.
Yeah, perfect. And the last pillar is transition pathway, that is the change management, moving from the current state to the future state. So we see again four themes. One is consumers. Second is economics, all about the market price and affordability and food security. Third is all what is retailer and food service. And fourth is regulatory.
For me, definitely consumer.
Okay.
I think that's what I mean. I'm a consumer, you're a consumer, everyone is a consumer.
Yeah.
And I still see the challenges in the supermarket when I go to supermarkets every now and then. So when I do my groceries, I see like the challenges that really are out there to find really good, sustainable, protein-rich products. And that's even for me, and I am working in this field, so I have a lot of background knowledge, and now I can see the challenges that consumers have with all of this different information that is available, and then maybe there's not a big selection in the supermarket. So I can see, like from the consumer point of view, that that this is really, really challenging, and we need to do more work on this.
Yeah, and I think that we integrate, as I said earlier, other discipline to help us, because sometimes science, we are not communicating in a language that consumer can understand and we can scare. Even with the word I told you in the new product development that you selected in value chain, I said, do you consider as well blended material, dairy, and crops? And you say yes, and we call hybrid. Consumer might scared about the word hybrid. What does it mean? It seems to be lab and so science. We are in a space where people like to see the emotion attached to the food preparation, the cooking as the grandmother, the tradition. So everything that is accepted in the car industry or in the phone industry, in the food, scare consumers. So it's a particular challenge, and I fully agree with you that we need to overcome if we want to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. There's this brilliant book from Michael Pollan, The Omnivore's Dilemma. That's what I also usually tell my class. We, on the one hand, we are omnivores, so we can eat everything. But this is also a dilemma because our ancestors basically they had to figure out what is actually edible. So they had to test and try everything to see what is edible and what might make you sick or could even kill you. So for us, it's still the same dilemma. If we try new food, our body is like, oh, is this edible or does it make me sick? Because our body doesn't really know that every food that's in the supermarket is safe to eat. So, and this is usually what then is called food aversion. You have to make like really small hurdles for the consumer so that they try new food and then convince them that they try it for a few times, because sometimes it takes a few times until you start liking a product.
Yeah. And we are the only animal species that are blending, formulating, cooking, cutting, preparing food. And this privilege to be the human being preparing and cooking, own the cooking and the processing as part of the everybody responsibility. So when the industry is doing that, because we need a scale production, there is a lot of doubt on what we are doing as an industry, the application of science. So it's a beautiful topic to further discuss. But let me change the channel, Lutz, and go a little bit to know more about Lutz as an individual, a human being, as a person. Um, I would like to ask you if you can share with us one passion that you have and identify Lutz amongst others.
Hmm. That's a good question. Um, what is my main passion? I think I have probably two. Like one is really doing science and research and learning about new developments, like reading and writing about it. I think every time if I see something, especially in food science that I don't understand, then I spend like an hour trying to find out like, oh, how did they do this? What's the technology behind it? And then I'm always like, okay, can we do this also in my lab? So I think that's what I always like. If something new pops up, and then I really always try to understand it.
Passion for knowledge.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of I like to gain new knowledge, but I'm also I easily forget it again.
And you
So
say two. So one
yeah.
is knowledge and the other one?
The other one is hiking. So I really
Okay.
like hiking and being out in nature. So that's what I really enjoy, and that's what's also really nice here in New England. Not right now. Right now it's winter and snowy, but I really like hiking as soon as like the weather is a little bit better, and that's what I usually do on the weekends, and that's really nice.
Okay. Very nice. So you look at the four energies that normally we have as a human being. So you share the knowledge, the intellectual energy, and then you have the what is the physical energy, hiking and going to nature, and then there is the emotional energy that is the family, friends, everyone relate to you. That you have many. And what about spiritual energy? Anything that you do as art?
To be honest, no.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think
you know
I'm
many
not
scientists.
Yeah, I think I'm not a very spiritual person until now. I don't know, it might change if I age, but I think in general I'm not very spiritual.
Not
Maybe I
playing
should.
guitar or singing or painting,
No,
drawing.
not
No.
yet. But
Okay.
maybe I should start it. Maybe it would be good for me.
Life is a long journey, so
Yeah,
something to explore.
yes.
Okay, so can you share with us one pride, something that you are very proud of, personal or professional?
I think I'm really proud of my team here at UMass. So my
Okay.
students, all of them are really hardworking, and they all have very challenging projects, and they're really working hard to make it work. And they also have to deal with a lot of challenges each day. We grew quite a lot in a little bit more than 3 years. We are a group of more than 10 people, and we are from, I think we are now 5 or 6 different nations working all together with very different backgrounds, very different cultural backgrounds. It can be very challenging. So I'm really proud that how well it actually works and that everyone works so well together in the group.
I admire your openness to integrate multiple diverse perspective because as you said it's challenging but certainly will guarantee a better and richer outcome, no, on the activity. So on
Yeah.
this recruitment from different parts of the world, what is the non-negotiable human skill that you want to see in the people that you recruit?
For me, the most important thing is passion about the work
Okay.
or about the topic. Um, so I think if you're really passionate about your research and what you're doing, then your previous experience doesn't matter that much. So you should bring some basic knowledge because this will help you a lot. But if you're passionate about what you are doing, then you can overcome many of the hurdles and you learn really fast. So I think
Okay.
that's really important to me. Like, are you passionate about the research and the project?
No, that's very nice. So you bring people with passion and you create the environment to protect and make it grow, no, with the
Yeah,
community. Very
that's
good.
the idea.
So you have many competence, Lutz. Select one that is particularly distinguish you amongst others. That if I ask everybody who knows you, they say that is Lutz. Which one would be?
Oh, that's difficult. I don't know. I don't think that I'm particular good in anything or better than others. I think sometimes I think that I'm one of my strengths is that I'm not particularly good in something, but I'm reasonably good in many things. So I think I'm quite versatile in a lot of different.
Broad. Yeah.
Yes, like broad. I think I'm not an expert in engineering. I'm not an expert in fermentation, but I'm interested in all of those, and I think I like this broad interest in different types of fields without being like a real expert in all of those, but bring different disciplines together. I think that's maybe one of the strengths that I have and that I try to bring to my group too.
Yeah, it's a competence itself. No, it's like the T. So some people are in the vertical part of the T, very deep expert in lipid chemistry, for example, and people who enjoy being kind of broad. This is needed as well. No, both are needed.
Yeah,
Very
that's
good.
visualization. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, you define very well. So last question about Lutz is related to one objective. One objective that you are handling today when you wake up in the morning is driving you, topping your agenda, personal or professional. You are German, living in the US. So what is your main objective right now that you would like to share with us?
My main objective is definitely my students. So maybe you have, and that's what I realized just recently. Maybe you've heard about some struggles. We are like in beginning of February 2025, and there were some political struggles about the funding situation in the US, the federal funding. And when this came out, I didn't think about, oh, what about the projects? Can we publish and whatsoever? But what I thought is, oh shit, what about my students? What happens if I can't fund them anymore? And maybe then they have to go home without a degree. And that what really bothered me. I didn't think about the projects or whatsoever. What really bothered me is, can I graduate my students so that they can go on and have a successful career? So what really drives me is supporting everyone in my group and ensuring that they learn and get a good degree and then have a successful career wherever they want to go.
Wow, very noble objective. Thank you for sharing. Would you like to ask a question to myself?
Yeah, I mean, I think you told me that you are like towards the end of your career in the industry. So now you're entering like a new chapter in your life. So what is it that you still want to achieve?
Well, I always believe that in the different phases of our life, we are living a new phase that we discover first time in our life. So
Yeah.
in this particular phase of my life, my current passion, objective, and the way that I see the next chapter, I always see the future in an optimistic way. And after being 38 years working in the industry, mainly in the B2B industry, and leading teams over the last 22 years, I was leading R&D groups from different nationalities, different countries, and traveling the world, living in different geographies as well as you did. I live in the US, in Belgium, in France, in Argentina. Now I think that is a time to prepare what I call coaching. So I am taking the course to become certified professional coach. I follow the academic approach to have what is needed to have the diploma, but based on the corporate environment. I want to be professional coach on people who are doing the job as I did in my life, that I can understand the environment where they are and use the tools that the coaching provide that is so powerful to help people to remove some of the beliefs that are today blocking some of the connection with others or as a leader to connect with the teams. Or we are emotional being. We always say we are thinking being, but actually we are very emotional, and emotion and everywhere, and can be an enabler or can be a blocking in the team. First of all, the joy to have in every day, but also in the outcome of the project. So there is at the end a penalty if we are not able to solve this. Every emotion is okay. There is no good or bad emotion, but some emotion can really be disturbing the happiness and the potential of a team. So I want to work there. I want really to dedicate the next chapter of my life to support in man where I am working today, but other professional as well. So that is quite exciting future.
Yeah,
Thank you for asking.
that's very, very cool. I think really important. I mean, you have like tons of experience, and now adding like this new skill on top. I think I'm sure you can give a lot back to the community.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Nice compliment. Thank you. And what I want to learn, because I was mentoring people, mentoring, you are able to provide recommendation, advices. Coaching, you really learn the art to ask questions and help the coachee to find the solution by himself or herself. So that is a particular art that I am learning now.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Lutz, it was a pleasure to have you here with me. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best. You are an excellent human being, a fantastic colleague, and with the academia and the industry, but also in the Bridge to Feed that we share the same passion.
Yeah, thank you, Luis, for having me, and thanks for the wonderful conversation.
Thank you. Stay well. Bye bye, Lutz.
Bye.